Welcome to the Instinctive Influencers podcast, a show where influence becomes one of your tools for success. Now, here are your hosts, Brian Weber and Ed Haley.
Hi, I'm Brian. And once again, Ed is not with me today. Instead, I've got an old friend here. And when I said old, I don't mean age. He's not that much older than me. However, I do have an old friend here by the name of John Bonilla. I've known you since 2002, I would say. I think that's when we met. It was 2002. Yeah. Is that when you first got to the old eighth?
Good old eighth bat.
Yeah.
It was about 2002. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to say, I just couldn't remember because I knew you all, you, that's where you met Jason and you met Mike Taylor, Jason Duncan, Mike Taylor, David Verismo. You met all them at a different location during a training when you guys were bringing the new aircraft in. And then, so I was already at the unit. I was actually the first Yankee or armament guy that was stuck at that unit. And they threw me in avionics. And then the armament people started showing up towards the end of 2001, I want to say. And then, everything kicked off, and I think Alpha left and went and did their thing. And then you guys showed back up. So, and that's when we met kind of like, through that, and we've known each other ever since. And it's like, we bumped back and forth into each other. I just left a unit and you were there. You were running the show, killing it out there. So, hey, John, here it is. We are going to talk about this topic right here. We're going to talk about comfortable with being uncomfortable. However, we are not getting into that, and I can't let you off the hook because it is automatic always. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into instinctive response. With instinctive response, then you get to answer the questions as fast as you can. Once we get all that knocked out, then you get to tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, fine. Let's go. Let's see what you can learn about me.
Let's see. Well, all right. What do you think you'd be good at selling?
That's a good one. Use it selling.
Yeah.
Man, a couple of things come to mind. I just don't know if those are good topics to items to sell, I guess you would say. No, not topics, items.
Okay.
So I like to say I'm good at selling the Army.
Selling the Army?
Young adults.
Why would you say that? Why do you say that?
Because it helped me out a lot in my life. Helped me out with the foundation, if you will. So if I see somebody who doesn't have a foundation and is struggling, mostly with friends at home, not necessarily friends of my age now, but maybe my brother's friends who's younger than me, of course, or just cousins, relatives. When I talk to them at home, what do you got going on in life? What's your plans after high school? I'm not saying the Army.
You never recruited though. You were never recruited.
I never recruited, but I know foundation. I know exactly what it's provided for me and the ability you gave me. So I think I would say selling the military. It doesn't have to be the Army.
All right, that was instinctively. All right. Well, here's your next question then. All right, this is number 2. What's the funniest movie you've ever seen?
Man, I'm not much of I'm more of an action guy movie. That's what I like. So, but
a funny action movie.
I'm going to tell you Joe Dirt. Joe Dirt. I love Joe Dirt. That's a funny movie.
That is, I quote that all the time, and people don't even realize, when I'm quoting it. Life's a garden, got to dig it, stuff like that.
Dig it, yeah.
Do you think a stay-at-home mom works just as hard as a career woman?
Well, I'm a
you better not answer this wrong because I know Cheryl,
wife of 23 years, and yes, we have 4 kids. So I'm gonna tell you, yes, they work twice as hard than we do.
Yeah, well, especially right now, like you've got that little one. So
yeah, 2-year-old. He's saying a little one. I got a 2-year-old at home.
He's little. If he's not at school and not packing a lunch every day, he's little to me. Yeah. What is something you're teased about relentlessly?
Teased about?
Got to get vulnerable, buddy.
You know what it is. I mean, I'm a short guy. I'm 5'4" nothing.
5'4",
and I and I get teased about that all the time. It's funny till this day. I have a booster pedestal in my office. Let me tell you a little story here. So I got a booster pedestal in my office, and it was given to me as a birthday present 2 years ago by one of my S1 soldiers. Actually, my whole S1 crew. And the way they thought it was funny is because it was downrange, and I was looking at a board, and I couldn't see the top of the board. So I grabbed the booster that was right there, right? And so I could see the board, and I wanted to look at it. So I jumped on this booster, and somebody took a photo of me. They took a photo of me, and they just thought it was funny. So it was my S1. So they brought it to me during on my birthday about 2 years ago. No, a year ago. They brought it to me and said, "Hey, Sergeant Major, we got you a present. Here's the booster from downrange with your photo attached to it." I thought it was so funny. I mean, they made fun of me for my shortness, but it was so cool. I still have it.
I mean, I'm lucky I'm wearing these headphones. I've had many people that mention my big ears. I get you. I understand. Huge head, big ears. It doesn't, whatever.
Little guy.
All right. Would you rather be a jack of all trades or a master of one?
Jack of all trades.
Why?
I just want to be able to do different things. You got to be able to work on a house, work on a car, do your finances, just whatever I can, gain knowledge on. I want to be able to do it myself first. And if I fail, then of course I'm going to call somebody, but I'd rather be a jack of all trades.
Okay. So this is I like this one because I know what you would say probably if there wasn't this pretense in it. So you'll hear it. What is something you fell in love with instantly, not a person? I know you say Cheryl, right?
Yeah. I would say trucks, cars. I don't own my C10 anymore. I had to sell it. But I love vehicles. I love trucks, especially Chevy C10s.
C10. I'm trying to remember you didn't have a truck way back
no,
when.
Nope. Oh yeah, well I had a truck. I had a little Nissan. What's a Nissan? Little Nissan pickup, little white Nissan pickup. I think it was. I don't remember if it was a Nissan or a Toyota. No, I'm having a brain fart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but yeah.
This next question, buddy. I think this one's I'm curious to see your answer to it, especially because you're a military man. How do you feel about the statement, "Home is where the heart is"?
True statement. We move around a lot.
Don't we?
We leave places, right? We go places. So you would think, home for me is California, and that would be where my heart's at. That's where my family's at, my loved ones. But my heart belongs with my family and where they're at. So yeah, definitely, yeah. I believe that statement.
Yeah, and you all, I don't know how many times you all have moved. I mean, I know a few of the places you have because we stay in contact, but. I mean, it's like you find something in that new place. And it's like, that's your family thing. Like it just is. And I don't know how to explain it to people because our oldest daughter, Alexis, she was messaging back and forth with Michelle, just recently. And she said, I just don't know how, because Michelle was saying, "Hey, now we're moving to Fort Hood, blah, blah." And she's like, "I just don't know how you guys do it." And I'm thinking, you once did it too. You just don't remember.
You just don't remember. Yeah.
But
she did a couple times.
Yeah. But she said, and Michelle was like, it's just, we, as long as we keep that family nucleus, that's what does it. So, and I know your family, you're a very big family man. So I know exactly what you mean. Here's the next one, buddy. What's the biggest personal change you've ever made?
Personal change.
Mm-hmm.
This might tie into what we're talking about later, but how I approach things. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
How you approach things. Okay, because we're gonna hit on that, right?
We'll probably hit on that a little later. But yeah, how I approach things.
Well, you said you're from California, so what is your favorite thing to do at the beach?
I love the beach.
Random questions, bro.
That's a random question.
Yeah, it's just random. I'm just picking random questions.
Relax, toes in the sand, just chilling there, toes in the sand, soaking up the sun, watching the kids. Really nowadays, just watching the kids enjoy the water, being out there with the family. It's always fun. You know, another thing I like out there on the beach is 4th of July. You ever experienced 4th of July on the beach?
No, I've never done it before. Is it a show?
Pretty cool. Yeah, it's a show. Well, it's not called 4th of July on the beach. It's just, I was down in Pensacola for 4th of July with one of my buddies, and it was just cool. Just seeing the fireworks go off over the water. That's awesome. It's a different feeling. Yeah.
And then
cool.
I'm guessing you see the fireworks go, but you also get that beautiful reflection, everything else.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, here we go. You got 2 more questions. I'm actually holding one because I found one. I'm like, I got to ask this one last, but so we have 2 more questions. Here we go. I just had it. Where was it? It was about, oh, there we go. If you were lost in the woods, what would you do?
Well, I mean, we have training on this, don't we? I mean, I think you and I get training on this. So
hey, it's a random question.
I would backwards track my footsteps and try to get back to where I came from. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't freak out if that's what you're wondering. That's not something I would do.
So I have. I got lost once. I was at Fort Campbell. I was hunting in an area, and I can't remember if it was 11 or 12 or whatever. It was one of the areas, and I got in the middle of the area, and I came down out of the tree stand, and I got turned around. The trees were still had plenty of cover, so I couldn't see the sun. And I've always relied upon the sun as my direction. Like I kind of know what time of day it is. I know where to go. So I couldn't see the sun. My phone had died. I didn't have my map on me. Like there were all these things that and I was like, and for a moment, I'm not joking, John. I'd say a solid 3 minutes. I panicked and I'm looking around trying to figure out which way do I go. But then I told myself, because I remember talking to Jason Duncan one time, and he had mentioned the same thing. And he said, all you have to do is pick a direction at Fort Campbell and walk one way. You're going to hit a road.
You're going to hit a road, right?
Yeah. And so what did I do? I picked a direction. I grabbed my stuff. I took off, and I actually found my way out. And funny thing, I literally came out the woods. I turned to the right. My Jeep at the time was like maybe 50 meters down this road. So I was like, okay, what was I?
You weren't that lost.
No. But it was a quick panic because I was like, all my measures that I have in place were gone. And so, and I was like, oh, reality. So, all right, here's your last question. So we can lead into who you are and then the topic I want to talk about. And I saw this question. I was like, man, I want to hear what he says. Don't be blowing smoke up my, you know what? All right. All right. If you were a stranger looking at your life from the outside in, would it inspire you?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
It would. Yeah.
I knew that was your answer.
Yeah. Just knowing where I came from and my past. Yeah. If someone knew my whole background, from when I was born to where I'm at now. And it's something I'm not afraid of sharing. I share it all the time. My story, with my junior soldiers all the time.
Yeah. What's the reaction you usually get from that?
A little surprise, of course, some surprise. And then the reaction I'm really looking for is hope. I guess you would say it's one of the reactions I'm looking for from them. It's hope and know that there's a possibility, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
that
sounds like I had a very rough life. It wasn't all too bad, but it wasn't given to me, right? Everything wasn't just handed down to me. I had to work hard for it. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to transition that just a little bit. And from your experience, because all right, John, you've been in the service how many years now?
24.
20. Okay, so you have a year. I think you have a year more than I do. So 24. I got 23. Over those 24 years, you said like it wasn't the reaction you expected. But when you talk to individuals, whether it be other soldiers or civilians or somebody that you deal with, do you often see a trend like that? Especially like when you look at the distance in time, right? Let's look at the period of service. So you're dealing with somebody with less than 3 years. You're dealing with people of 6 and more. You're dealing with 10 or more, 15 more, 20. Like when you start looking at those time gaps, right? Do you notice a difference in the changes maybe, or like, where they came from and then you met them 10 years down the road and you're like, huh, do you notice that? Or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I definitely notice it. Yeah, I mean, you see a person grow, especially if they stay in the military long enough. And aviation is a small field. We run into people over and over again, and
all the time.
And sometimes, some people you just thought like, man,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that person was going to make it, or the opposite. Like I thought that person was really going to succeed, and something must have happened that they prevented themselves from doing it. Yeah, you see it all the time.
It's it's funny. Like there are two guys in the Army right now that were in my AIT, and that's it.
Yeah,
two of us. That's
really?
It. That's just two. He's a sergeant major down. I think Hunter. Yeah, I think. Anyways,
yeah.
And I'm like, and then some people, like, there was a few individuals like I truly respected, my friend. I mean, like, I looked up to them, and I was like, they're not. I thought they'd be like of the world, king of the world.
Yeah,
but yeah,
no, it's surprising.
It is. So let's look at some things about you. So you say you're from California. Where at California, brother?
So I'm born and raised in Riverside, California.
I've been there.
Where the river's at? It's not that close.
It's not.
But yeah, Riverside, California. It's Southern California, of course. It's about an hour inland of Los Angeles.
Is that still San Bernardino County?
It's no, it's actually Riverside County. San Bernardino County is right next door, but it's it butts up to San Bernardino County.
So you grew up there, right? Until you were what age?
Right out of high school, 18. So I joined on a delayed.
You joined program. Straight in the Army.
Yeah, I joined before I even graduated high school, and delayed entry program. I took a month off for summer, and then went straight to basic. Okay. Came in as an 11 mic. So
what's that?
I was an infantry guy. It was mechanized infantry. That's what the mic stand for, mechanized.
Yeah.
Before they went to 11 X-ray or just straight up 11 Bravo now.
Okay.
So I was 11 mic. Went to basic at Fort Benning, Georgia. I experienced that, right?
Yeah.
And then went back to California to station at Fort Irwin for my first 3 years.
I didn't know. So that's something I didn't know about you. I didn't know you were stationed at Irwin for that.
Yeah, my first 3 years afterwards. So I think that's what helped me and my wife stick it out and stay together.
Because she had family
my high school
close?
sweetheart. She's my high school sweetheart. Yeah, she has family close. So she's from, same city I'm from.
So wait. What were you all married when you joined, or was this after?
A year after. So a year after I joined, we got married. She moved out there to Fort Irwin with me about probably a year and a half afterwards. But yeah.
So she was your high school sweetheart. And those of you listening, Cheryl, lovely lady. She's birthed 4 children to this man, right? What are the age ranges of those 4 children?
You really want me to get into that? Thanks, Brian.
I'm just saying, what's it? Do you know your kids' ages?
Yeah, no, I know their ages.
You've only got one more than me, so it's okay.
Son, oldest one, Isaiah, he's 23.
Mm-hmm.
And then my oldest daughter, Yasmin, she's 22.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second oldest, our youngest daughter, she's 14. She's a Valentine's baby, so she just turned 14.
Oh.
And then me and Brian were talking about this earlier, but I have a younger one than that. A big age gap here. He's 2 years old. He just turned 2 here on the 5th of February.
Yeah. I respect you. As soon as I got to a certain age, I'm like, I don't think I should be reproducing past a certain age. Just me, that's me. I probably shouldn't have been reproducing in the first place, but hey, no. So you have the youngest, but let's back up. You said something about a 22-year-old.
Yeah,
the 22-year-old happens to have.
Yeah, my grandson, Louis. I didn't name all the kids out there. So yeah, Isaiah, Yasmin, Alyssa, and the youngest son is Matthew. And then we have a grandson who's Louis. He'll be 2 here on the 7th of May. So they're about 3 months apart.
Yeah, I remember that. Now, where's Yasmin and the baby living right now?
They're at home with my wife right now. Yeah.
Oh, are they? Okay. Yeah. I thought to myself, like, that's I know how you are in your family and how important family is to you. So it's like, it's one of these things like when you said, hey, I'm having another child, John, I thought to myself, good for you, because I know how much you enjoy it. All right. So we got the kids, we married a high school sweetheart. We joined the Army. Oh, then we married a high school sweetheart. You were in 11 series in the infantry. A couple episodes ago, I just episode 99. I recorded with a good friend of mine. He's also an infantryman. But I didn't meet you as an infantryman. I met you as an aviator or as an aviation mechanic. So how many years did you do the infantry route?
So I did 3 years. 3 years stationed all there at Fort Irwin, California, and I decided to, of course, re-enlist. And I'll tell the story real quick. But my platoon leader at the time, a guy by the name of Rex Phillips. I can't find this guy. I've been looking for him everywhere.
Really?
Like literally trying to find him just to thank him. But anyways, he talking about aviation. He knew I was really listening. He was a guy who went from green to gold. Was a 67 Romeo when it was 67 series. And then he talking all about aviation and said, hey, you might want to think about aviation, think about the career afterwards, and something to be able to do. So I did. I re-enlisted for aviation. Went back to AIT there at Fort Eustis.
What year would that be?
That was in late 99, and I graduated early 2000.
2000.
Yeah, and then that's when I ended up at Fort Campbell. Fort Campbell was my first duty station as an aviation guy.
Yeah. So big change, big difference, right?
Oh yeah.
Mindset. Yeah.
Big difference.
So you did this. So it's funny you brought that. You said 67 Romeo. I came in as a 68 X-ray, and then it got shifted, right? So as we go through. So actually, you graduating, and then you said you went to Campbell, and then I know you were with that other group where y'all went down to Fort Hood for the training, correct?
Yeah, UTP. Was there with Dennis Custer, Singletary. Yeah, he was a sergeant Custer, and then of course the guys Mike and Jason were there with me, and then you remember Wilson.
Wilson. Wilson. Yeah.
And then Stephen Florino was out there. I'm not sure if you remember him or not, but he retired as a captain. He's out there at Rucker right now.
No way.
But then so I forgot. Yeah, we left there. When we left to go to UTP, we were with the 8th 101, and we were in Charlie. If I'm not mistaken, Charlie. No, was it Charlie?
Yeah.
Did we come back and go to Bravo?
Yep.
I can't remember how that worked.
Yeah, you transitioned over to Bravo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were the Charlie Lifeblood, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Something like that, and then y'all moved over to Bravo Bandits.
We got back, and
I've got hold on. I got something I can show you too. I don't know if I can pick it up with both arms, but there we go. And this was
check that out.
Yeah, this was in our battalion. Huh?
Is that from Korea?
No.
See the mask on it.
So they put that mask on it. This is what happened. We went through a lot of changes when they went to Afghanistan the first time. And do you remember Daryl Palmer?
Mm-hmm.
You remember? Yeah. Because he was friends with our kind of platoon sergeant when we were in Iraq together, which we're going to get into that. So he had changed it to the Bonsai Bandits for a little while. And because he did that, they made up that, and they just never took it off. So they've had it.
That's funny.
Right. When we shut down, because I helped shut it down, they were trying to get rid of these things. I was like, I'll keep that. Like, if there was anybody in that battalion that had been in that company the longest, I know I was. So at the time, I'm like,
you've been there a lot.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to talk about this right here, in a few minutes. So you came to that, and then we met probably about 2002. And not long after that, we got to go on an adventure together as young men. Cool. No idea what to do.
I being scared.
It's like you realize this is going to kind of lead into your uncomfortable discussion, but you realize it's like you're not going to have the answers to every single thing, right? And it's like you can only rely upon so much training and so much intuition. And I think, and you'll probably relate to that, it's like the situation you and I were in Iraq during the invasion, it was unique. I mean, least to speak, and I'm not, and I would not downplay it or say it was horrible. It was unique because the things we were doing. But I mean, what would you put it as?
I would also say that we were young men then. We were E4s, E5s, right?
You
at least our group there. I was I was a
sergeant.
I was a sergeant by then. I'm trying to remember who got promoted out there. But anyways, so we're just young, and I guess what we were focused on was our small little mission at the time. But we didn't see the big picture. We had no idea, what was going to happen, right? No. So we were just worried about turning wrenches, making maintenance happen, and making sure aircraft are ready to go. Yeah. So I think I would just say, I don't know, the pressure was different for us than it was for maybe our platoon sergeant or maybe our first sergeant at the time, right? Like they probably had a bigger picture understanding of what was going to happen next. We were just like, all right, cool, we're going on an adventure. Like, when did we cross?
That was it. I mean, and there were the scary moments we had. I'm not going to go into too deep to those. There was a couple. I was like, however, it was where we also learned how to like survive in a sense. Like we didn't have all the amenities. I've compared. I don't know how many deployments you've done so far. How many have you gone so far?
5.
Okay, so same. 5, right? And I've always compared them to that, and they've never been the same. You know what I mean? Like it's different. It was different. So, and and I'll show the listeners up here. This was actually a going away gift that I got, and it was dealing with Operation Iraqi Freedom when we went back in the day. But this is like the whole date that I was a part of that unit for that little bit of time. And that's why I wanted it in the picture, in the video, because I was like, that reminds me of like when we were together. So one of the key things here, though, is we had to learn how to deal with a situation. And what, in your sense, you wrote something once and you gave it to me, and it was about being comfortable with being uncomfortable. What does it mean to be comfortable with being uncomfortable?
Being vulnerable, putting yourself in a situation of whether it's personally as an individual or whether it's at a job. It's just you want to do better. Like you want to be a better person.
Right.
But in order to be a better person, you got to experience things that you never experienced before. You got to put yourself in a position, to become better as an individual, or it might be financially, or it might be a job position. You just gotta, you gotta be. Yeah. You want to be able to do that. And if you just sit down and don't do nothing, then you're going to be comfortable. But if you get up and try new things, you're going to be uncomfortable because they're new to you, new experiences.
Right. So does it remind you at all of what they consider as imposter syndrome? Do you ever do you know what I mean by when I say imposter syndrome, like that whole, I'm not good enough, I can't, does that remind you of that at all?
It does. I mean, again, if you're just comfortable where you're at, you fake it till you make it. Is that another way of putting it? Right?
Yeah. Fake it. And I would say I've had my fair share of that fake it till you make it, because it's like, I don't really like, there have been the times, John, that I would feel so uncomfortable, be like, well, I got to figure something out. I mean, I'll just, let me throw a Band-Aid on a sunken chest wound, real quick. Cause I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to figure it out. And is that where we're going with? Is that like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to figure this out?
Yeah, that's overall what you want to do, right? You want to succeed. I mean, you want to succeed overall. So if you don't try new things, I mean, let me back up here. So I'll give you an example at a young age when I kind of figured that out. I'll go back to high school. That's how far back I'm going to go. I'm in high school. Oh no! And I graduated in '97, by the way. I grew up with needs. Of course, we all have needs, but I needed to fend for myself, if you will. Like no one was going to give me anything. So part of that is getting a job. So I worked at a young age at Burger King.
Really?
While in high school, I worked there 2 years. My last 2 years of high school, I worked at Burger King. And my last year there, before I left to go to the military, they put me in a assistant manager position. Here I am, 17 years old, and I'm an assistant manager at Burger King. right?
Right.
That's uncomfortable. Like that's but what drove me for that to take that position is, hey, I was young and I wanted more money. I mean, bottom line, I wanted more money, right? I want to be able to buy the things I could buy and spoil the lady I had in my right hand, Cheryl. But that was an uncomfortable position. That was something that I wasn't sure. Like I looked at myself in the mirror, like I'm 17 years old and you want me to be an assistant manager? Like how, like what am I doing right now, or to get this? And then what also do I need to learn? Like I'm not gonna be able to do this. So I was opening up on the weekends. I was opening up the store at 5:30 in the morning. I'll show up at 4:30. Well, the night shift was there, and I would open the store up, to make sure everything was ready to go. Did my inventories for all the food and everything else that goes with it, and submitting that inventory and just. But being a boss at a young age to a shift, if you will, that was very uncomfortable. But I had to learn how to do it, right? And then and again, something is driving you to do that. So I guess I would say I learned pretty young on what leadership sort of meant at the time. I didn't fully understand it, but sort of.
Right. Well, I mean, you just posed two questions that I think not enough people ask, right? They think to me. So you said two things. One was, what am I doing right? And then what do I need to do a good job? And when you say that, like some people just, they don't think in that manner. And that's the whole point about this show is like, Ed and I try to bring in different opinions and everything and different mindsets. And it's often, this is crazy, you're going to think I'm nuts, but what you're saying is what I often hear. You know what I mean? Like it's that idea of what do I need to do? One, to progress myself, to make myself better, to better serve. In a sense, that's kind of where I'm getting. What do you think?
No, absolutely. And that's, so it started then, right? I mean, for me, it started then, but it starts, it hasn't changed. That has not changed one bit. As you know, I'm here in Leavenworth right now for a course. And, one of the things we were talking about is, what do you bring to the table? Like, so when you get to your new unit, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah, I like that.
So you gotta understand you first and your capabilities and what you can bring to the table. And then, then you see how you can fit that into the group. And we're talking about building cohesive teams here. But how do you fit that into the group? How do you, what you bring to the table fits into the group and it helps everyone else around you become better. So it's important. Like you can't just stop there. You always got to constantly think. I heard you say something earlier in one of your earlier podcasts. I can't remember what the word you use, but I'll just say expert is what it made me think of.
Mastery, maybe.
Yeah, it was mastery. It was. Okay. I don't like the word expert.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah. You can be an expert at shooting your rifle. You can be an expert at maybe getting a 300 on the APFP test because there's nothing you can go after that, right? But if you call yourself an expert at something, you stop growing. You stop becoming a learning person. Like,
absolutely.
So you got to continue to master, right? But you just can't say I'm an expert at this because then you stop growing. So that's important. Yeah.
I love that. I love that word. I love that word. Master to me, because mastery is that it's continuous growth, right? It's the continuous looking at things. You've worked yourself. I've seen you've worked at the platoon level, the platoon sergeant, the company level, the battalion level. Now you go to like and you're working at these levels, at different levels. Now, what does the previous one do for you? Well, it just helps set you up with some general knowledge, but you don't know everything when you get there. You're not master, you're not expert at it, but you learn to become a master of the skills required. And if you don't get those skills, you'll know. Like, when you're not a good mechanic, when you know what I'm saying? Like, because it's crazy. There I was on the airfield. I was in, no, I wasn't in the airfield. I was at our hangar back at Fort Carson. And you may remember this. I can't remember the guy's name. I want to say we were at, it happened at Key West. We were working a phase. And somebody got the finger cut off. Do you remember as the tip of the finger? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You don't say his name. Don't say his name.
I don't remember his name. He was a civilian though.
There was somebody got the tip. And I seen that, and that happened again just last year, a year and a half ago, same exact scenario, same exact situation, finger in the wrong place, hand too close to the fan, for the ECS.
Yeah. And
I'm like, I've seen this before, there's a reason why there's warnings in the book, stuff like that. And what it is people they get complacent, right? And you remember Hartley Paul used to say, "Oh, don't get complacent." The way he used to talk. He was an Islander. Sometimes he would yell at us, and I didn't know what he was saying, but other times it was very understandable. But he used to tell us all the time, "Don't get complacent." And I think to myself, sometimes people think they're such a good expert at something, they get complacent and they get hurt because both situations, those two individuals that I remember dealing with, both of them knew better. And because you're coming from that background, it's like, don't put your hand near that.
It's also an instinct, right? When you open that door up, you're supposed to, first thing you do is take that, unplug that little fan there.
Yeah. That fan ain't no joke. Hey, let me tell you, listeners, if you've never dealt with an ECS system and the little fan that goes in there, it moves so fast and you can't even see, like you can see through it. And you're like, don't put anything in that hole. But it's funny. You brought up mastery, and I think mastery is a good way. It's a good thing to kind of bounce off into this next question I was going to hit on.
Okay.
I think I got what you said, what you meant, but what influenced you to take on the mindset? I feel like it was something that grew at that 17-year-old kid, and it's just been evolving. Is that where we've gone?
You're right. I was forced to grow up at a young age. I was forced to make life decisions, to support myself,
right?
At a young age, that I couldn't hesitate or wait for someone to coach me, and I had to figure out how to do it on my own, right away. Yeah. Of course, I was open to coaching, but yeah.
Do you think were you open to coaching at that younger age? You think?
So yes and no. I mean, at a young age, you think you know everything. Let's face it.
Because I can tell you my answer. Nope.
My daughter thinks they know everything. If it was beneficial to me, then I cared probably. But
yeah. No, to be able to recognize that at an earlier age, that's a good thing. But let me ask you this then: if you were talking to, it could be a young soldier, it could be a young civilian, it could be your son, your daughters, it could be somebody obviously who's coming up in the world, right?
Yeah.
How do you help them approach that mindset of comfortable with uncomfortable? How do you help them approach that?
You ask them about their goals in life.
Mm-hmm.
Where do they see themselves, 5-10 years from now?
Right.
What do they want to do? Whether it's in the military, out of the military, whether it's joining the military or not joining the military. What do you want to do? And then, all right, so what are your plans now to get there? Like, what's preventing you from doing those things? Is it a mindset? Is it a finance? Is it, what is it? So you got to help them understand basically what the wall that's up right now that's stopping them from getting there. And a lot of times you'll find that it's just like, well, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if right now is the time. Well, when's the best time? Well, is there steps that you got to take in order to get there? So if you are,
sure you weren't a recruiter? Are you positive you were not a recruiter? Because that's something that's what we say. It's like,
Yeah. No, but it's a 9 times 10 years. It's a mindset. It's a mental block in their individual person that just stops them from getting there. Right. So you got to help them get over that. And it's a mental thing, in my opinion. It's most of the time.
Yeah. It's the roadblocks that we create for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I can definitely see that in the minds, like the fact that, where you are right now and what you're doing, I think it's definitely says something about you. And we'll talk more about that in just a moment. And you brought up, so we talked about that approach, but you said something about asking them the right questions, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to that though, like, are there the times when you notice like you're not getting through and you just have to back off and then maybe come back at it? Or, I mean, to help others, what do you think you need to go with that?
Yeah, if you're not, I don't know. I mean, if you're definitely not think they're hearing what you're saying, or they just, they need time to think about it. I mean, people are different. Some people just need some time to think about it. Like if you just put them on a spot and ask them a question like you're doing me. sometimes I just need some time to think about it, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
So yeah, just how about this? How about you go and lay out your plan? I want you to go home and really think about it. Talk to your family about it, and then let's make the decision. What is it that I can do to help you now? So sometimes it's just they haven't really put too much thought to it. Sometimes it's really just mental, man. I mean, might just be a financial thing that's stopping them from trying new things.
Right.
And you just got to talk about their different ways of getting after it.
Right. So what do you basically, if I say, what do you think comes with that mindset? For instance, like what are the added benefits? And then also what could be some of the setbacks that when we talk about learning how to be comfortable with uncomfortable?
Experience, lack of experience.
Okay.
Lack of understanding. Some people are afraid to experience new things.
Yes.
So if you're afraid to experience new things and put yourself in a vulnerable situation, then you definitely hesitate on trying it. So you just gotta. I think you got to talk to them about how do you experience those things without getting yourself, putting yourself in too much of a vulnerable situation. Or how about you ask somebody else? Hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. How did you approach it? Like, find that little group. Find that little group that may be doing the same thing. And I'm being very generic here, right? I mean, it's being broad. Like, you can be comfortable with being comfortable with a lot of things. So you just got to find someone with the experience of what you're trying to accomplish or do, and see, if they can give you some insight, or come up with a plan and just say, hey, I want to run this by you. Is this do you think this is something I should or shouldn't do?
Yeah, that's pretty much. It's funny. That's kind of how I browbeat Ed into doing the show with me a couple years ago. Yeah. So people don't know this story. I'm not going to tell the story. So we're still waiting for the right time to tell the story of why he owes me, in a sense. That's why I tell him that. He'll as soon as he sees this, he's going to kill me. But I was basically like bouncing the ideas off of him. And I'm like, it's like, we're getting all this awesome information and we're learning so much and we're only sharing it with like 200 Joes every month. We could get more out there, and then, but, I wanted to back up just a little bit. You basically kind of said, hey, 17, that assistant manager job, that was kind of like was that like your springboard in that idea of the comfortable and uncomfortable? If not, what was? If so, because it's a two-part question here. If it was yours, what was that next real big one that just kind of like, oh my goodness, I think I've gone over my head. I'll find my way out.
So the first part of that question, the first part was no, I would say the working at Burger King. I didn't know it then. I didn't realize that it was something I would be talking about later. I don't think it had that big of a. I mean, it had a big impact on me, but I don't think it was something I really thought about. What was what I wrote about. The big uncomfortable position I've ever been put in, I guess, the first one, maybe not the big one, but the first one. It was what I wrote about when you asked me to write.
Yeah. What you want to explain that to everybody?
Yeah. So, what year was it? I don't even remember what year it was. I'm thinking in my head.
Well, back in 1840. No.
I'll just leave the year out of it. So I was a young sergeant first class. I had just left Germany.
That's not that long ago.
Well, I was young though. I was young sergeant first class, and I left Germany, and was stationed back at Fort Campbell again. I was with I'll leave the unit out of it. I know you like to lead that way. So I was in a platoon sergeant position when I got there to Fort Campbell, and we were deploying. So we deployed back to Afghanistan. And I went out as one of the first sergeants, one of the platoon sergeants out there. And bottom line is, I became the first sergeant. Some things happened, and I had to take over the reins as the first sergeant.
Right.
Mind you, the big point I'm leaving out here, I guess, is that that was my first platoon sergeant position as a sergeant first class. So I was I've been, I was prior to that, I was in a TI shop. And if all you know about TI shops, technical spec shop, nothing but staff sergeants in there. And I was there for 3 years. So, you're not really in a leadership position, if you will. So I went out as a platoon sergeant, first line company that I had been a part of as well. So I was learning that whole realm, learning, how to run a line company in aviation. And then, they said, hey, you're going to be the first sergeant. And that was a mental mindset to change. Managing aircraft maintenance and personnel with aircraft maintenance, and then managing a company. Mind you, the company is not that big. I mean, make it sound like it's huge. There's about 40 personnel there, different ranks,
but half of them outranked you too.
Half of them outranked you, right?
Yeah.
Then being told to be the first sergeant, and oh, by the way, I still need you to run the platoon sergeant stuff at the same time. That was hard, and it was it was a mindset change, because I had to learn about the administration part, the human resource part, if you will, of running a company, and so for me that was it was scary. I just didn't know. What was expected of me. So I had a pretty long talk with the sergeant major at the time, and he convinced me that I was the right guy to take it on. And I said, well, if you have faith in me and you believe in me, and again, go back to I must be doing something right. Go back and identify what I am doing right, and then try to gain on that. And then really after that was learning what I need to do. Like, what is my job really going to be now? And that's when going back to what we talked about a minute ago, I lacked the experience, right?
Right.
But what I didn't lack is peers to talk to you and to ask them, hey, what should I be doing? How can I do this?
Yeah.
Right. And surround yourself with the right people. You can't go ask everybody. You gotta find the right one. And there was a first sergeant within the squadron that I talked to, and she helped me out a lot.
Wait, this is when I was with you. We were in different units, but we were in the same location. Oh, okay. Because as soon as you said, I was like, oh, I know what you're So, but with that, right? You said that you didn't know what to do. Was there that moment of imposter syndrome did it creep into you and almost create like a negative vibe at all?
It kind of did, because I didn't want to fail. I bottom line, I didn't fail. So I was afraid of failing. But I don't know if it created imposter syndrome. I was just afraid of failing. So that failure led to me, quickly adapting and learning, what my new role and responsibilities were. Yeah.
That is a phobia. I will tell you that. I looked it up. It's real. The fear of failure. Yeah. It's huge.
Failure,
Yeah. That's key, right? So you understanding how to take on this mindset, and to reach out to people that can help give you answers, and to be able to rely on them too, right? Because is everybody always going to give you the right answers? Probably not. But the fact that you were able to do that, and to go, and if I wish, if some listeners don't understand, some of them won't. The big thing where you said, I never did a platoon sergeant's job. And so I basically went from being a technical inspector, which I give them a lot of credit because they have to know the aircraft.
Right.
But then you had to go, oh, I'm a platoon sergeant. No, I'm a first sergeant, which is a big thing. Like, that is huge. Like, the job of a platoon sergeant is to set you up to be a good first sergeant.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. I wore both hats there for a good solid, probably 3 months. And I went to the sergeant major and I said, hey,
I need a platoon sergeant.
I need a platoon sergeant or get a first sergeant in, because I can't do both. Like, it's overwhelming. I mean, it's frankly overwhelming. It's a lot to do. So he's like, well, you're going to be the first sergeant. I'm bringing some platoon sergeants in for him. Like, thank you. And thank you really, because he let me stay there as the first sergeant, and again, seeing something ahead of me. Yeah, but it was a quick transition. Like, I never really got to experience the platoon sergeant, job, or responsibilities. And then, just jumping right into being the first sergeant. Yeah, it was frightening. It was uncomfortable, man. and just really, really uncomfortable.
So I could only imagine how uncomfortable it was, because I've had the chance to do, like, but I had a big platoon when I was like, mine was, I think at one point we're 101 deep. Like that's a company in most cases. Right. So I understand what you're talking about. Like it sets you up, and that's the whole point about it. It's like in the Army, that's one of the great things about it, is like when you can take on leadership positions or certain spots, it sets you up in a building block type fashion, just like our schools. Like you're going to a school right now that's supposed to help you. And you talked about, what do you bring to the table? That right there. I love that. Like I'm probably going to use this in a paper very soon, and not for the academy, actually one of my college doctorate papers. I think I want to use this because I've got, and I'll tell you later a little bit, what my overall thesis is going to be, but I love this. And thinking about that. So now my brain is clicking on this. So what is it that you brought to the table that attracted that sergeant major to say, no, I can't have you going back and doing this. You're doing this, like that's a question. What did he see? What did you bring to the table?
Honestly, I don't know what he saw in me, to be honest with you. I don't know like what he saw in me. And I thought back on it multiple times. Like how did I get lucky enough to stay a guy? And was it luck? Was I in the right place at the right time? Because I knew there was a couple sergeant first class that were had more time in service than I did. And like, I don't know why I didn't get the job. Like, okay, cool, I'm good. But I don't know if it was, that was weird. I don't know if it was just my luck. But I think something that I guess I did bring was I wasn't. Yeah, I was fearful, but I wasn't too afraid to try. Like I wasn't too afraid to try new things. And I also think it was the relationships I built within the company itself, with the personnel around me. Like it just my work ethic with them, and I'm not trying to bolster myself, but I had a way with people, and I think he saw that, hey, if I take him out of it, or I can at least run with his how I am with the personnel, and how I work with them, our relations with them, and how much of a cohesive team we have. I think that's probably part of it, but I really don't know. I really don't know, what it was. The guy that I'm talking about was a really quiet guy. So I couldn't really, I've asked him a few times, like, I couldn't gauge it. I couldn't. And I don't know. And I really don't think it was the commander at the time that decided to allow me to stay as well. Because him and I always didn't see eye to eye. I'm not talking about the company commander. I'm talking about the squadron commander.
Yeah. And that happens though. I mean, we have to expect that. Like, it's not like in whether it be in a civilian entity or military or a community service or church organization, whatever it is, you're not going to always see eye to eye. But if you can bring something to the table, you can do that. A lot of times people will see that, and it's not about like I'm bringing more than you. It's about, this is what I'm doing. I like to look at it as I'm competing with me and only me.
Yeah.
Would you see it like that? As like you're competing with yourself only?
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't competing with anyone else. There definitely was. It was myself. I had to adapt. And maybe that's what he saw. I had the ability to adapt and overcome, the circumstance at the time. So I think that's what it was that he probably saw in me. I don't know exactly what it was, but I definitely didn't say no. I definitely didn't back down to it.
Yeah. Well, that's remarkable. And that's like, that is a big reason why, like, I had that, you wrote that thing for me. This was when I was trying to do a blog, and then the blog totally ended. And, I was like, oh, that sucks. And then I was like, wait a second, I could do a blog where I'm just talking to people,
Yeah, right.
And that was like, I remember I'd seen Steve Harvey. He mentioned that whole being comfortable with uncomfortable. And then as soon as he said that, like, it clicked in my brain, John Bonilla, he wrote this thing. And when you wrote, I thought, man, that's something else that if people can learn to be comfortable and with being uncomfortable, then that's literally an asset you keep in your pocket, and you just pull it out every once in a while, and you're like, I was uncomfortable one time. You see this? I can do it again, and put it back in your pocket.
Exactly.
So here's my question then. What are the desired outcomes of being comfortable without uncomfortable that you think?
Desired outcomes? Wow.
Yeah.
Not exactly sure. Desired outcomes, huh? Like, what do you mean? Like,
Like what do you want to get from it? Like, so if you, or if you're trying to help somebody learn to be comfortable, like what do you think like should be one of the design, like an outcome of it? You think? Like for me, I guess I would say it's the understanding that if I've done it once, I can do it again, I guess. But I'm not like, I guess that's just my take on it. Like what would you want to gain from your uncomfortable situations?
I guess it depends on the situation, right? It could be individually,
Right.
It could be physically, it could be emotionally, it could be spiritually. It can, you know, there's all kinds of things. So let's just talk physically. Like it's physically uncomfortable for me to want to perform the ACFT. I actually like it. I'm just old, it. All right. I know you do. I'm not against it. It's just it's a different beast, right? It's a different animal.
You've been
and you have to train a different way.
Yeah.
And if you're not used to training that way, then it can be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you learn your limitations physically. At this age, right? So that's uncomfortable. But what do you want to achieve out of it? What do you want to gain out of it? Do you want to be an expert out of it? Do you want to pass, and get a 600? Yeah. Can you do that? Like, so if not, what is your achievement goal that you want to make? That's why you want to try to be uncomfortable. You want to put yourself in a new situation where you're going to learn, you're going to achieve something, you're going to grow either as a person or grow physically, right?
Yeah. So I get that. From what I'm gathering is like, it's about the goals. It's about the end state.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
It's about the end state. And there's different situations. So I was, thrusted into that position change. Like that was something that was thrown upon me. Right. But you can look at it and it's like, wow, you can really catastrophize and say, hey, I'm not going to be able to do this and think negatively. Or you can look at it as an opportunity to grow and learn fast. I came in, like I said, I came in and I was an infantry guy in my first 3 years. When I went to aviation, I put myself behind the power curve. I put myself behind the power curve because I was behind my peers for 3 years. I was a specialist when I went to AIT, but I was like a private. I was a brand new private all over again.
Yeah.
So I thought back to that as well when I was, put in that position. And I was put in that position for a reason, but it was an opportunity for me to grow and learn. Again, I'm put in that position, but if you're trying to grow as a person or trying to do something different, look at you, you're going for your doctorates, right? That's not comfortable. That's a lot of work you got to do.
It's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable.
But you have a goal at the end. You have something you want to achieve. Yeah. And I'm sure that leads to something else that you want to do after the military. So
it is.
You have to put yourself in positions to grow as a person.
Yeah.
So it can be either put on you to do it, or you can placed upon you to be uncomfortable, or you can just go out there and try new things.
I want to stretch this a little bit further to the goals thing. We were talking about goals. And this is my question for you is like, is goals a big thing for you individually, and also maybe you and your wife, Cheryl, in your marriage? Is goals a big thing? Like, and I'm saying personal side and professional side. Is that a big thing for you?
Goals are a big thing. I won't say that for me, they're personally a big thing. I find myself sometimes, and it's probably not the right answer, but I kind of go with the flow sometimes, and that's probably the wrong answer.
We do.
But do I have goals in life? Yeah, I have goals in life, and there's things I want to do. There's places I want to be somewhere, a place when I retire. I want to pursue. I have a goal to pursue a new job after I'm done with the military. And that sounds terrible to say it that way, but when I'm told I have to get out,
I'd say I feel you, bro. Like I say it all the time. I tell my wife, and I've told some other friends, and some of the guys they look at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, they're gonna have to tell me I have to leave. I'm not going to leave on my own. I'll stay. I would stay in forever if they let me, but they won't let us. So
I think for me, it's more short-term goals than they are long-term goals. Like,
okay,
so I think I'm pretty good at short-term goals, but long-term goals, I need to get better at. I need to do it soon. I need to do it soon.
Well, I mean, It's funny. Some people will say, "Hey, what are you going to do when you get out of the service?" I'm like, "You mean get a real job? Am I supposed to do that?" No, yeah. That's what my comments are. But usually I get the same. Oh, it is a real job. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just joking. Like, I get paid to be a big kid. That's lit. I mean, okay. There's the professional side, but there's not a lot of jobs that you get into that you get to work out every day. You get to go and shoot guns. And you get to hang out with people you like. I mean, well, there's the people you don't like also. And you get to fly around in helicopters. You get to do a lot of these things. And it's like it's literally like being a big kid. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, and you get paid for being on convalescent leave. I mean, what else?
I didn't take convalescent leave.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah. That's not a thing you do here when you're in the middle of a course.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So and that is a big reason why I kicked all the painkillers and I said, all right, I'm just going to take Tylenol when I need it because I wanted to be able to focus in class. There was one day, quick story. I'm sitting in class and I'm in Department of Joint Operations and I'm in there. And he starts talking about something. And I had taken, I was still dealing with the pain in the shoulder. I had taken a Percocet because I was prescribed them. Yes. Yeah. I took one early that morning and I'm sitting there and I am just like, I'm not focused. I'm in the room, but I'm not in the room. There was just, and I was like, yeah, I can't have this anymore. So I kicked those bad boys. I was like, I'm just going to deal with the pain until it heals. Because I couldn't focus, and that's important. Yeah. And I think that's like, so let's take that as a metaphor in life too. That whole, sometimes we get so uncomfortable that we get outside of our own body. Right. Or we withdraw. And when we do that, it's like, we're not actually living. We're not trying to experience it, to learn from it, to gain that knowledge, to understand it for mastery. I mean, there are things that we can do that can help us get involved. And I think a big part of it, John, is not being scared right off the bat. Like, it's okay to have a little fear, but don't let the fear overtake you.
You said something there a minute ago, living, we're not living. And I was listening to, I listen to all kinds of podcasts and, different things, read books. I do audiobooks. I don't really read books anymore. I do the audio thing. I listen more when I'm driving. Right. Yeah. And the question was, are you alive? Are you just alive or are you living? Like, being alive is just being in a moment where you're at and just what you're doing right now, right? Yeah. But living is going out and doing new things, trying new things, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. Not gonna get you killed or anything like that, but just trying new things that you want to live life to its fullest and live, try new things. So again, it goes back to, you want to live as just a regular physical person, or do you want to be like you, Brian, physically fit?
I wish. No, I'm not that. I'm not that fit. I can introduce you to a guy that kills me. Actually, I had him on the show. So let me ask you this then. Like, I know you've done it, and because I've done it also. Because you're living in Carson area, you climb Pikes Peak. How many times have you done it so far? Once?
I've only done it once. Once, yeah.
When you completed that feat, because that is a feat. I don't care what anybody says. When you complete it, how did you feel?
Oh man. Well, tired. I was definitely tired.
I ran out of water.
I was looking at some photos, and I could see that I had a heat stroke or something coming on. I was dehydrated, and I didn't realize it. But to answer your question, I felt accomplished, man. It was so awesome. Just when you get to a certain point, you're like, I'm not sure if I can do this. Like, I'm not sure if I want to finish this.
Yes.
It's because it's exhausting. Yes. And what I didn't have with me, I don't know if you had it with you. I didn't take an oxygen tank with me. I didn't take any, little oxygen tanks. I didn't even think about taking it.
No.
But
I didn't know it was a thing.
Man, I was ecstatic. Like, feeling like you're on top of the world. I mean, I know it's not it's not Everest, but man, it's just, it was just awesome. Just being up there and looking back down once in a while, and like reminding yourself, well, I'm doing this. Like, and there's the purpose is accomplishment. There was nothing else, man. I mean, physically, for me as an individual, it's like, I want to just do this. I want to climb Pikes Peak and see if I have it in me.
Yeah. Would you consider that to be one of your one of the hardest physical events you've ever done?
Yeah, definitely one of the hardest. And it's kind of funny because I didn't do a whole lot of training for it. I mean, I didn't. Me and my commander at the time, we would climb, not, what's it called? Cheyenne Mountain. No, Cheyenne Mountain. Yeah, we did. I would do the stairs too. You know, but that was the extent of the training I would do, like stairs. And I think we did Cheyenne Mountain once or twice.
Yeah.
At least once, but maybe twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we got there and at the base of it and started walking, it was fun in the beginning because we're talking, you know, we're just going along. There wasn't I wasn't trying to go faster than anyone else. I was just staying with the group. You know, I wasn't trying to, you know, like you're going to do an ultra marathon. You just want to finish, right? That's all you want to do. You just want to finish. It's a goal, right? Yeah. So, but it got to a point where like, I just hit myself, like, am I going to finish this thing? And I stopped to change my socks out at one point. And
really?
Yeah. I stopped to change my socks out at one point. And the group that I was with kept going. And I was okay with it. Like, we're going to keep going. I was like, yeah, go for it. And after that, I was about a little more than halfway through, I was by myself the rest of the way. So there was there was not just climbing it, but just a lot of thinking going on, like just mental thinking going on. And I enjoyed it. I had fun. I got to top, and I was just again on top of the world, man. I didn't want to come back down.
I want to put you in a mental state right now. I want to put you in this comfortable with it being uncomfortable, right? This is one of, so you're on that mountain. You're at about 12,000 feet. You know, it's 14,000 feet. And I know once we got above 10, the breathing started getting hard. And that's when the thought process is starts to play tricks on you. Like, I don't think I can do it. What makes you go on?
Finishing. I think just the fact that you're so close, you want to finish it, and you ask yourself, you know, is it worth walking back down, or do you want to go back up, right? But at that 12,000 level, you know, 12,000, you know, foot mark, you're looking up, and it's up there, man. It's steep. It doesn't get easier, right? So it's overcoming that mental block of I am able and capable of doing this. I have nothing physically really going on wrong with me. I'm just tired. I mean, but hey, we're all tired. Like at some point you're just tired. Like, my legs hurt. Okay. This is maybe not the worst I've ever been. But I'm going to feel it tomorrow, but I can do this. You're just talking to yourself and really just find an internal motivation and internal, you know, reason to go. And then you just know people are up there waiting on you. I think another thing was, so that was 2 years ago when I did that. It was right before I took over my current position. And I'm a true believer of leading by example. And I think another thing that went to my head was just thinking, you know, if I can get up to the top of this thing and go back down and tell my soldiers that, hey, you know, this old man climbed Pikes Peak and you know, I was able to do it. You can do anything. Like, why can't you try it and do it? That was just, you know, just finding motivation around you, you know, reasons to finish.
That's crazy. So not too long ago, so Michelle, she didn't do that with me, but so we're here in El Paso, and you have the Franklin Mountains, and you have Franklin Mountain itself there. And the kids were in school. We had made a plan to get together with our friends. We had a couple of my classmates that we wanted to climb it, and she decided she was going to go with it. And it was funny because she had never done this before. She'd never climbed that high. And it was, so we get up, we were not far from the top, and she was like, I don't think I'm going to keep going. I don't know. Like, she played that in her head, just like, I got to, and then she finally did. And when we finished and then we went back down, I started asking questions. I was like, how do you feel now that you've done it? Like, and she was exhilarated, you know, just loving it. And I'm just like, that's what I mean. Like, and if people can get a taste, John, of success, right? And you're seeing a different side of success, like, well, not different. You're seeing an elevated success that you may not have expected as a private when you came in straight out of high school. You're seeing that success now when you're at the top of that mountain, and you can say at the top of the mountain, but you would also probably say, oh, well, I still got a lot of climbing to do. Got it. But you're still at a peak, and you're looking at where you came from to where you are, and think about, like, all those moments of being uncomfortable, but still saying, nope, I'm going to do it. Nope, I'm going to do it. Nope, I'm going to do it. That's important. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It's hard work, man. It just gives you a sense of accomplishment and joy.
That's amazing.
You have to experience it to know it. I mean, so just think about the best thing the best thing you probably accomplished in your life or as an individual, and just think about, like, the moment what you felt at that moment, and just apply that to anything else that you want to do. just, hey, that's the mindset I want to feel, or the emotions I want to feel again, and what I want to do. Like, even if it's baby steps to get there, just setting small goals at a time to get there. And then once you achieve the overall goal, you can definitely, it's a power. It's embracing it. It definitely makes you feel really good.
That's good. That's great. So that helps me transition towards the end of the show, my friend, because we can't stay on here all day.
I know, I'm enjoying this.
I know I could talk leadership, motivation, all these different things for hours. And I'll leave it at that for right now. But so you're about to make a huge move. You guys are going to leave Carson. You're going to head out towards the Rucker area because you're moving to another leveled position, and you're actually in school to do this. And that's an important thing because you probably got to assign another. You're probably going to do another ADSO, right? To stay in longer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But what does life look like for John Bonilla after the Army? I mean, just thinking.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things, and I've been thinking about this for a while. The one I've been wanting to do since before I even came in the military, and that one is I don't know if you remember this or not, but I want to open up a barbershop. That's something I want to do. I enjoy. I cut my own hair. I need a haircut.
No, you've been cutting your own hair for a long time, because I remember. Yes, yeah. I remember back when we were young sergeants together in this organization. And I said, who cut your hair? And you said, oh, I do. And I was like, how do you get the back? And you said, oh, I just use a mirror. And I'm like, there's no way I could do that.
Yeah. I've only met one other guy, actually at the academy, that cut his own hair. He does it way better than I do.
Yeah.
He's better at cutting his own hair than I am. But yeah, no, the barbershop is something I still want to do. Like, even till, that was something I thought about doing at 20 years when I got out. And then, I'm only four, almost 5 years, past that. But still, it's still something I want to do. And so, yeah, I enjoy it. Why do I enjoy it? It's because I just like talking to people. Like, it's an opportunity to sit and talk with people, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person just cuts hair and get out of my chair, give me the next person. Like, I want to sit there and talk with people. So I can't really say it's like for financially reasons, if I'm going to be that slow at it. But I definitely, that's just something, I enjoy doing. It's like, instead of going to get a beer, I just want to go and cut hair and shoot the crap with somebody, if you will.
Yeah. That's, it's funny. You brought that up. So my last 3 barbers, in the States, because I'm not going to count when I was in Korea, or in Afghanistan, but here in the States, all 3 women. And they always took at least an hour to cut my hair. I'm like, but if you go to some places, brother, and it's like, zim, 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 done, 15 minutes. Zim, zim, zim. Yeah. But it's an experience. And to be able to, like, man, I'm kind of excited for you right now. Like, I want to see where this goes. Like, does he open his shop? Does he just start cutting? Like, there's a lot of things, and it's pretty good supplemental to retirement, I would consider. But that's not the point behind it. It's really about enjoying it, right?
Enjoying it, yeah. And it might be a side business. I mean, it might be like not something I'm at all the time. Maybe I have the business open, it's running, but I have some personnel cutting hair, and I'm going there on the weekends to do it, right? Because the other thing I really want to do is JROTC. I still want to give back to the community. I want to do the junior ROTC program.
Oh, junior ROTC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So go work at high school and just talk with the young kids and still be immersed in leadership and talking to leadership, but talking about being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing in life? And it's not because I want to be a recruiter and tell them all to join the military. It's just again, going back to where we started at with today's show, is just I know where I came from. I knew how difficult it was for me, growing up as a young kid, and the choices I made in life, right? And not having someone there to give me sound advice, if you will, all the time. So just, I'm not saying all kids need that, but that's what I want to do.
That's just awesome, man. Like, to be able to want to give back like that and still be involved. I think you can do it as a barber and a ROTC instructor at the same time.
You could.
And then you tell your students, hey, listen, the barbershop, you need a haircut. Just get it.
Come on by.
Bring mom and dad. I'll give them a buzz cut too. Yeah. And it was a great conversation, John. I've been looking forward. This is one of the ones I've been looking forward to do. I totally booked my weekend. We recorded 3 this week. Well, I got one more to record later, but and this was one of the ones I really looked forward to. And I have to apologize right now that you have to be, I know we met at the 101 and we're both 101 guys.
Yeah. Right? I just realized that. Yeah. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. You have to be 102. There's a reason I have to, I'm sorry, but Ed is my co-host, and I can't, I mean, I'm his co-host. He's my and we're actually doing it. We did a special one. It's basically leadership lessons on Bastogne. So everybody go back, listen to 101. As we're recording right now, like we're recording, it's not out obviously, but when this comes out, it will. And that's the only reason why you don't get to be 101. I apologize. Maybe 202. I don't know.
I like that. It's all right on my 101 there. We do have some history there, but I look forward to hearing the Bastogne one because
I love it.
When I was there in Germany, I had the chance to do the Bastogne March twice.
Did you?
And I'll tell you what, man, I'm getting the chills just thinking about it. It was so cool, man. We could talk about that some other day, but I got some stories for that. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'd say I feel like I'm living vicariously through Ed at his time in Germany, because he goes to all these places, like, because he's a big Patton fan, like he's a huge Patton guy, right? But he also loves the 101. So, and he constantly goes to all these different historical sites, just like you're talking about. And he kind of shares that with me, but that's the whole point, it's like, and that's the whole reason why he gets to be 101 and you don't. But no, I mean, well, I mean, you still have, so when you get in with the school and then you move, like you're guaranteed you have to stay in for 2 years, is it?
At least 2 years, when I take the assignment,
Okay, so you have to do the 2 years. So you take the assignment probably later in this year, which will put you at 25 years.
I'll be at 25 at the point,
And then 2 years on that, so put you at 27. You might as well stay for 30. Yeah, okay. See, I did the beer
I haven't
math
decided yet, but yes.
Yeah.
It's gotta be a good job.
I have a feeling it's not like your decision by yourself, though.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, there's a certain person that's in your life that helps with that.
Cheryl, like 10 years ago, said you're never getting out.
It's so here's the funny thing. I said the same. I told Michelle, I hit 20, I'm getting out. And then I hit 20. I'm like, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. She's like, you're not getting out, are you? And I'm like, and then we finally get selected to come here, I go to school, and I'm like, I might as well just do 30. I'm in my 23. It's only like 6 more. She's like, it's 6 more years. Yeah. But I get you, my friend. Hey, John, thank you so very much for wanting to participate in the show today. And the topic, obviously it was your topic. I just wanted to kind of talk about it and teach listeners if they wanted to. Thank you very much. I appreciate you want to be on the show. I know you've listened to a little bit here and there, and I hope our pathway gets to cross again at some point. No, we don't know. But is there anything you'd like to tell the listeners before I end out the show, my friend?
So I heard you in the past talk about some philosophy and what a philosophy is. So what is my philosophy or someone else's philosophy, right? So if you don't mind, I want to share something because I talk about it quite often with some soldiers of mine. And I wasn't.
No, that's so funny. You brought that up, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the things I had on this little thing that I sent you. And then I was like, he probably won't want to talk about it. So I erased it. I'm not joking.
Oh, really?
No joke. I actually had it. It was between E and F. And I was like, nah, he ain't going to want to talk about that. So I erased it. Please tell us about it.
No. So I talk about it often with, and it's nothing new to anyone in the military. It's the 3 C's. If you're familiar with the 3 C's, character, competence, and commitment. Mm-hmm. I talk about it all the time with soldiers, and just character being you as a person, your values, moral and ethical values, and what's expected of you as a soldier, as a human being. Period, man. Just a human being and a dignity, respect for other people. So it's character is something that's being shaped into you when you start growing as a person, and you can change it throughout. It might be hard to change, but you got to think about your character and just how you treat other people and the choices you make, right? And there's competence. Competence is competent at your job. And that's where the vulnerability comes in and being uncomfortable, but you got to be competent, a competent person. So you got to be a competent leader. You got to be competent with the things you do throughout life. So, how you treat other people is important.
Yes.
Being able to do your job or treat other people how you want to treat them. So yeah, you have competence, character competence. And the last one's commitment. You can't do the other two without being committed. Bottom line, you have to be committed. So the way I like to frame that up is when you're committed to other people, to the person to your left and right, you're going to treat them with character, the proper character, right? When you're committed to the organization and to the organization, you're going to be competent at your job. You're going to continue to grow and progress and become the best version of you that you can be. So when you're committed, competence and character comes naturally. That's going to come with no problem. So I like to tell people, just be committed. Be committed all the time. Be committed to the person to your left. Let me start backwards. Be committed to yourself first.
There you go.
To be the best person you can be.
Yeah.
Committed to being the best version you can be in, at your job. Committed to the person to your left and right, because you're going to treat them, with dignity and respect. Committed to your organization, whether it's a job or a unit, and if you're committed to that organization and their mission and what they stand for, you're going to be the best leader you can possibly be. So that's something I talk about quite often with soldiers. Is my end brief with them when they come in. I'm actually going to do here at the end of the month. End of March. I'm going to do a BLC graduation.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna speak at it?
Yeah. So I'm gonna probably talk about a little about those 3 C's. Hopefully a little better than what I just did right now. But just think about that. That's nothing new. Just get on the leadership manual there, and you'll see character, competence, and commitment.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah. Especially with Success 22. Yeah. You're gonna find it. I'll tell you something when we get off air, because I just I wrote something down and it's clicked in my brain. But getting to speak, I would tell you what, getting to speak to a group of BLC, I got to do it almost every month for almost 3 years, or just under 3 years.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
And I got to do it, but I got to do it for the whole class, and the whole class would be like 200 something people. And, it's just, and it's like, what do you bring to the table to help educate them? And that's what, that's why I loved that job so much, man. That's your 3 C's and how you went about talking about that hits home big time. And I'll tell you what I wrote. So you can't see it on the board right now, what I wrote over here as you're finishing up, because I'm going to throw it as an option for you there. Anyway,
all right.
Hey man, I truly appreciate all the information and the nuggets of knowledge that you threw in the basket of my head, to help me out with this show, to kind of further the understanding, but also just as a friend and learning from each other. We've talked back and forth on things. And I'm excited to see if you decide to call your barbershop character, competence, commitment. But I mean, I can imagine,
that's pretty good.
I mean, I don't know. You'd have to work some type of crazy marketing ploy into that, but I think it would work. But with that, man, hey, thank you very much. Appreciate you on the show.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of luck in the future. For those of you out there, he's moving on a bigger responsibility type job. And I would tell you that what he's taking on, it's not like everyone, there's only 12 people any time of the year gets to do stuff like this. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean, so it's a big thing. It's a really big thing. And I'm happy to be able to have gotten to serve with you. That was a cool thing. Especially here. Yeah. That's not even a unit anymore. This is not even a place. No one can go there and say, oh, I was a part of it. No, you can't, because they closed it. Yeah. But with that, I'm gonna close out the show. For you listeners out there, if you're wanting to stay connected with the Instinctive Influencers, you know how to do it. You got to type 101 Influence in Facebook, Instagram. We're on Twitter. You look over those different things. If you're listening via audio and you want to see how handsome John is and how bad I look, you just go to YouTube, look up 101 Influence, or just go look for Instinctive Influencers through YouTube, and you can watch the videos. And I often share them through our Facebook pages so you can look at that. If you are watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then tell me why you gave a thumbs down. I don't care. But give us some comments. And if you have something you'd like to add to what we talked about being of comfortable, uncomfortable, let us know. We're always open to hear what people are saying. And I think John will love to also see those comments.
Oh, yeah.
So here we go. It takes a while for me to turn the music on. Oh, there it is. All right. Hey, so with that, thank you very much, John. For you out there, I'm Brian. Ed is still in Germany. This is the Instinctive Influencers podcast. Thank you very much.